Hey there, it's Claire. How are you today? I was thinking of taking the weekend off, but yeah, I didn't take off yesterday, which was Saturday, but I want to instill this habit in me. I want this to become a habit. And let me move this. So I didn't want to stop today. I was going to take the day off and I was like, no, I need to keep going and doing this. I got my mic all going. It's not the final mic that I'll use. I have a mic that clips on, and the battery went out really, I hardly used it, and the battery's dead, so I have to replace the battery. But this is my old mic that I got to attach to my camera, and I don't know, I hope it's better in some way than the camera that's built, than the microphone built into my camera. Today, I don't know, I think I'm gonna make it brief today and talk about how upset I am that it's legal for a doctor to just say whatever their patient wants them to say, as is the case with the doctor of President Donald J. Trump. It's so funny. I should have looked up his name before I pushed record. I didn't look up his name. Bailey Conley, something like that. I don't know, maybe in my mind it's not worth stating his name because he's not a doctor. He's, I know he went to medical school and he earned the title doctor, MD, whatever, but for any doctor or MD to sell out like he has, aren't there licenses for doctors? Yeah, there are, right? If a lawyer were to, I don't know, there are a lot of lawyers that defend criminals and do all kinds of maneuvers that are questionable, I guess, but as long as they don't violate the terms that, the bar or whatever it is that regulates lawyers, they're in the clear. But it should be against regulations for a doctor to hand out fake diagnoses and report that to the public, who the President of the United States works for, who is our employee. It should be illegal. He should lose his license over that. To hand out a fake diagnosis saying he's not contagious. I know he conducted certain tests that determine the viral load. I know that's what they've done. That he didn't get a standard test that everybody gets to determine whether they're positive or negative. I'm taking care of Elisabeth here in Augusta, Georgia, and there's a home care agency that comes in because she had a minor stroke in the hospital. When she was in the hospital a couple times back, she's been in the hospital twice in this past year. And the first time she was in there for low sodium, and now she devoutly drinks her Pedialyte. She refused to drink her Pedialyte, and that's why she ended up back in the hospital. Now she won't drink anything but Pedialyte, and that's why she's staying out of the hospital. But, and during her first hospital stay, they had to restrain her because she wanted her IV out. She took out her own IV. She's an RN, a retired RN, and she took out her own IV. And so they restrained her overnight, and she, Elisabeth was so furious and enraged. She threatened to shoot one of the nurses, and in the morning they took out the IV and took off the restraints. But I believe that might have triggered the stroke that she suffered in the hospital. And it was in late May, and it was a minor stroke. And from what I understand, she's had at least one minor stroke in the past. So she's recovered, you know, everything's pretty much the same. It's just now she's in diapers, you know, she can't move her body and pivot to her potty like she once did for like almost 2 years. So she doesn't have the same independence she had in her bed that, you know, anymore, which has been sad for me to see. But yeah, and as a result, she developed a bed sore, and I worked my butt off trying to prevent it from happening. I saw it coming, and oh, I did everything I knew to do, and it still happened. It was a very minor sore. I called her doctor, and he hooked her up with home health. And home health has been coming here. You know, by the way, I finally healed up her bed sore. When she went back into the hospital in July, late July, and she was there for 2 weeks and 2 days. It was very scary. I've talked about it in previous videos, and maybe I'll put one up here. When she went into the hospital that time, they put a Foley catheter. They sent her home with a Foley catheter and a new bed sore. There were 2 when she came back from the hospital. There was one, and I had gotten it really small and itty bitty. And then she went into the hospital, and it got worse, and there was a new one on top of that one. And so I had 2 sores to heal, and I healed the one in the hospital, but I couldn't heal that original sore quite. You know, it was very small, but I just couldn't quite heal it. And she has like a bone that protrudes at the bottom of her spine, I think more than most people. And it's that bone that puts a lot of pressure on that skin on her lower back and creates a sore, and she can't move to other positions. It's uncomfortable for her, she says. So anyway, when we went to the doctor on September 14th, I told him, I just couldn't, you know, I healed the other sore, couldn't quite heal the original sore all the way. And he's like, well, until that sore is healed all the way, she's not getting her Foley catheter out. You know, she really wants this Foley catheter out. And I do too, because I want her to be happy. And it just doesn't seem to be medically necessary, in my opinion, you know. So, but okay, so I got the idea that I would rearrange her bedroom so that she would be facing the other side of her, you know, the other way in her bed. And I don't know why I didn't think of it before. And none of the nurses, they've been very helpful. I mean, that's how I healed her bed sores as much as I have. But for some reason, the nurses didn't teach me how, and I don't know, they didn't teach me how to take the pressure off that area of her body so that the sore would heal. And you know, I had to figure it out myself. And I got the idea after that last doctor's visit on the 14th to, you know, have her facing the opposite way in bed so that it would take pressure off that part of her back, and I could heal up her sore. And I called the doctor's office and I said, I'm going to do this and I'm going to heal her up. And it healed in a week. Now, the problem is she's not comfortable on that side. It was okay for a while, but then it's her good hip too. And her good hip hurts more than her bad hip. She broke her right hip in 2018, and her good hip hurts more to lay on than her bad hip for some reason. So nowadays she is back to laying on the other side again. But I have since, you know, made sure that she's got some foam under her. And I've actually ordered a cushion that's memory foam. It's going to arrive in less than a week, I think now. But I have some other foam that I've been putting under her in the meantime. And yeah, it's been fine. But I healed it up in a week, and I've kept it healed. It's been like this coming week. Today is Sunday. Starting tomorrow, it'll be 3 weeks since she's been all healed up, I'm proud to say. And she has remained healed. You know, with that little cushion, that little foam under her, that does the trick when she's laying on the the side that gave her the bed sore. And that's her most comfortable side. And I want her to be comfortable. So, you know, I don't want her to, it's good for her to move around in bed like she used to. She used to have no problem moving around in bed before the minor stroke in May. But she has trouble moving now. She's moving, you know, since PT has been coming to the house. You know, it took a while for her doctor to order PT. And I'm really glad they did. I mean, she went through PT before, and, you know, she wanted to walk again, but you know, until she got the x-ray, we didn't understand. We suspected that something was wrong, and that's why PT didn't want her to put any weight on her bad, you know, hip. Until she got an x-ray, and she refused to get an x-ray for the longest time, and then she finally agreed, and that's when we found out that she never healed correctly because of her osteoporosis, which makes her bones soft. And the solution would have been to get a hip replacement, but you know, I've told the story in a different video, and I'll put that one up here for you if you're interested. Anyway, so she's been healed for 3 weeks, and now we're just waiting for an RN to put in the report to the doctor so that she can get her fully out. This coming week is the last week that home health is coming for PT, and it should be the last week that nurses come, hopefully to put in the final report and then to remove the Foley, because there's no need for home health at this point. And we're hoping that happens as planned, because she really wants the Foley out, and you know, but she can't get it out until an RN. It can't be an LPN, which is a licensed practical nurse, and that's the kind of nurse that comes every week. The RN, the registered nurse, comes maybe once a month or so. And that's, the RN is the one who has to put in the report to the doctor, and the doctor will not put in the doctor's order to remove the Foley until he gets that report. So hopefully that will transpire. But the reason I'm going into all of this is, hey, I'm back. I can't believe it, but I had to play my recording back to figure out why I went into all of that. The reason is because one of our nurses, well, actually one of our PT people, you know, physical therapists, she got coronavirus. She is the first person we have ever met in Augusta, Georgia, that has contracted coronavirus. We've never met anyone here. We never knew anyone. That's why it doesn't seem real in this neck of the woods, you know. But yeah, she's the first person we've ever met that has had coronavirus, and her husband had it and everything. And technically she was still positive when she was, you know, she's back on the job, and technically she's still positive, but because it had been over the 10 days, that 10-day window when you're still contagious since the first onset of symptoms, she was allowed to go back to work. And, you know, she was in this house with her mask on, with Mrs. McClendon, an 89-year-old woman, bedridden, and she's not contagious, so that's why she's allowed to be here and on the job. You can still be positive and not be contagious, is what I understand. And but the thing about President Trump is the first onset of symptoms that we know of. I mean, we're just taking the president and his doctor at their word. The the first onset of symptoms was Thursday night, right? I'm not knowing the date off the top of my head, but Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and today is 10 days. Now that's if you have, you're at home sick and, like with the flu, and that's the case with the PT who came over, that was her situation. She and her husband, they were holed up in their house. I don't know if it was for 14 days, I assume it was. And now I assume she probably was tested on a regular basis, found out she was positive and had some symptoms. I think it was when she had some symptoms that she got tested and found out she was positive. And it was 10 days, it was beyond the 10-day window since the onset of her symptoms. And that's why she was back on the job, even though she technically still tests positive for coronavirus. But with the president, he needed supplemental oxygen on Friday, the next day after the first onset of symptoms the previous evening, which doesn't seem likely. And which means, maybe he's further out than we know. Like maybe the first onset of symptoms, and maybe they were very mild, like we're on maybe during the debate, who knows? Wednesday, but anyway, today is 10 days. It might be day 11 or 12. But the thing about it is, if you have severe illness, a severe reaction to coronavirus to the point where you need supplemental oxygen 2 times, and you go to the hospital even just as a precaution, and you have trouble breathing, and we could see that when he came out of the hospital. Was it on Monday, or was it? Yeah, I think it was Monday night. He was like trying to suck in his air so we wouldn't notice. I mean, he was struggling to breathe. And, that's severe illness. Now, I know if I was home sick, maybe I'd be coughing a lot. I don't think I'd have trouble breathing, because that's when you get scared and you go to the hospital, when you can't breathe. If you're coughing, and you're tired and lethargic, you stay home and you sleep it out and you take plenty of fluids and stay warm, right? But when you can't breathe, you go to the hospital. And that was the situation with the president. That's considered serious illness, severe illness, right? And the protocol for severe illness is 20 days. You need to wait 20 days before before you're not considered contagious. Now, I don't know if in 20 days he'd become negative. I would think that it would be 20 days or a negative test, whichever comes first, right? For severe illness. He's clearly not in the negative right now, but he still has symptoms. I mean, his doctor even admits that he still has symptoms. It's kind of amazing. He does admit it. His symptoms are reduced or declining or whatever, but he still has symptoms. Anyway, I can't believe that is allowed in full public view. Like the medical association or whoever regulates doctors. I mean, isn't he violating something by giving out a fake diagnosis like that? I know I know the doctor. I mean, that was a slip. I called Trump the doctor. I meant to say Trump, not the doctor. I know Trump has been taking these brand new experimental treatments for, some kind of antiviral, antibody something, that nobody else has access to, but because he's the president, you know, they're just trying everything, the latest and the greatest, right? And supposedly this is what has cured him. Supposedly, right? He's not cured yet. It's helped him. It's helped him recover and prevented him from going into deeper seriousness of illness. But, you know, and I know they're using alternative tests to test his viral load, and I guess the doctor is thinking that his viral load is low enough, but he's not going according to the protocols set by the American Medical Association, or CDC, is it? He's not following those protocols. He's following a different protocol, and I would think that doctors have to all be on the same page when dealing with coronavirus in particular, since it's such a brand new illness and it affects all of us. You know, but he's just being allowed to redefine the rules and do what he wants. And you know, really, the doctor is Trump. It's not the doctor. And I know that there's some kind of loophole in the law that allows the doctor. I did it again. The president, who is the commander-in-chief, to dictate everything, because his doctor, is he some kind of military guy, you know, so he has to follow the orders of the commander-in-chief. You know, this is the problem with the military. I know that in a state of war, you know, where life and death is at hand, there has to be one person in command, and that's why you have the ranks that you have. And, you know, because in an emergency situation, you have to be kind of clear on who's in charge and who is not. But in everyday functioning in our society, it doesn't work, and it's wrong. And look at this abuse of authority right here. This is a problem that we need to solve. This is not correct. I mean, maybe in the old world, this was the way things were done, but not in 2020 and beyond. We can't have this kind of authoritative hierarchy, you know, to going forward. I know that the Queen has authority over everyone, and that's who I am. I mean, I don't have authority over, I mean, you wouldn't, I mean, I can't exercise my authority, apparently. I don't know why. I mean, I have legal authority, and somehow that legal authority is blocked. But Trump, who does not have legal authority, who actually does not have a legal right to his office, has total authority over everyone, even his medical doctor. And I mean, it's outrageous. How can this be? How could this happen? If I have no power, and I'm supposed to have the power, and I have no authority, you know, you've stripped me of my authority, how could he have all authority? How does that work? He doesn't even have the legal right to that authority, but he gets everything? I mean, you know, and look what happens. CIA, this is why women are the ones in authority in Vega. If you want to know, look at this. You know, I know all of you in the CIA, you're all criminals, so this is your fantasy. You know, with Trump, you can get your way somehow, you know, you can get your payout. You can, you know, Trump helps you make it happen because he's the biggest criminal of all, right? So you don't care about what is good for society and what's not. So I really shouldn't be speaking to you. I should be speaking to the masses, the common person in our world, in our country. Look at what happens when we give all the power to the criminals. I know Trump has convinced you he's not a criminal, that he's a Christian. Do you think that, I mean, I can't believe that the Christians think that Trump actually prays, that they think Trump actually believes in God. I mean, do you know that Trump just believes in himself? He doesn't believe in anything like God. Do you know that? He's just telling you what you want to hear. He's never read the Bible in his life. And, you know, never, and he hasn't even prayed in his life. He believes, I think he does chant, really. I mean, there's no way he could have done what he's done without chanting. He chants the words that Nichiren Buddhists chant. And I can't chant them because those words, well, part of them, I guess I can say the part and remove the nam. Nam is a Sanskrit word that means devoted to. So, you know, it's like love. Okay? So we can put that over here, nam. And I can talk for a few more seconds, and then I can tell you my ancient name. My ancient name is Myoho-Renge-Kyo. I can say that much, okay? That's my ancient name. And when you chant with the nam in front of the ancient name I just said, you can create the most amazing life ever. And why would ancient words, or you chanting your devotion to me, you know, the ancient name that I have, you know, because when you say somebody's name, that means, you know, the person whose name it belongs to, right? You know, when you say, I love Claire, you mean me, right? That's, Claire is my name, and it means me. So, chanting your devotion to those ancient words, why would they create the greatest life for you ever? Why would they bring out your highest potential? Because it's hard to explain. It's very profound is the word. But you know, there was a time in the ancient past when there was no life, or, well, there was one life form. Let's just say that. And that life form emerged, and that life form was all by itself. And that life form was my ancient beginning, me and my ancient past. And, you know, it's so funny because I actually remember it. I was a little, like, molecule of spirulina in Hawaii. I know that sounds so wild, but I'm serious. And I had consciousness. I really did. You know, spirulina are living organisms. And I was talking to the sun as a little spirulina molecule. I remember this. And I know there are some people who can't grasp this. Okay, I'm only talking to those in my audience who can actually grasp such a reality. Okay, and that, it was in Hawaii, in the Pacific. You know, those are my roots, and that's why I'm Queen of Hawaii. You know, I'm you know, descended from the monarchy in Hawaii, and Hawaii is American, right? And you know, it kind of, you know, that's the American side of my lineage. That's on my paternal side. You know, of course, the British monarchy is intermingled there, and it's one lineage. And from me, you know, I know it sounds so far out and wild and overly woo-woo. From me, all life emerged. I know, I don't know how, but it's all started. I mean, the sun existed, and you know, the sun is actually, because our scientists can't get close enough to the sun, they can't see what it's made out of. You know, I mean, the sun burns up everything within a certain distance of it, right? So we can only get so close to the sun with our technology, right? And that's planned, you know, so you don't see what's going on there. It's actually what we would consider to be a man-made apparatus. It's made of metal. It generates the fire that goes around it, you know, that warms the entire universe, right? I mean, without the sun, there'd be no life, right? And it's kind of like a spaceship. It really is. I know it sounds really weird to us people here on Earth, but it is. It's like a spaceship, but it, you know, it stays in orbit and keeps us all alive. Thank goodness, right? And it was that spaceship that was in the galaxy, is it? I don't know. Universe that brought me into existence. And I believe I'm the beginning. I'm their past. Basically, they came back. It's kind of complicated. I don't even grasp it sometimes. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. But, you know, time is a continuum. It's not linear like we think of it. So they're kind of like the future, and they can come back and revisit their roots, and that's what the earth is. The earth is their roots, their beginnings, and they're watching their history unfold live. And it's kind of cool. So they know what's going to happen, you know, because they have their history books. They're not books per se. You know, they have a different kind of library system. I mean, I think it's computerized, and I think that, you know, I mean, in Vega, they have the coolest technology, you know. You can go back in time literally and see what it was like, you know. You can, you know, books, you can go into the environment of history and watch how it plays out. But they are actually watching it play out live right now. Okay, this is live. We're live. You know, it's not like a recording that they can go back and revisit and study and experience. They're looking at it live. There's nothing like live. And that's what we are here on Earth, live. We're the live stream. And it's very exciting. You can understand why we're very exciting to them. And why they love us so much. Can you understand? And that's our heaven. That's God, whatever, you know. That's me. I mean, even though I'm here on Earth with you, I'm not up there. I've visited a few times because I've been, you know, more than a few times because I've been killed so many times. Whenever I die, I go there. And as a child, I spent a lot of time there, you know. But whenever I came back, it was like a dream, you know. It wasn't real anymore when I was back down here. This is real. This is home to me. Earth is home. As painful and boring as it is, this is home. Vega's like a dream. And for many years, I wanted to believe it was just a dream, just a fantasy. I just put it away. It's in a different file in my brain than everyday life. Everyday life is this, Your Honor, this is everyday life. The struggle, I don't know how I'm going to handle the struggle turning into the fantasy. I mean, I hope it happens. I mean, I hope I'm not just like dreaming. And it'd be really nice to have a good life here on Earth for a change. You know, I would like to, I mean, there's always going to be the struggle to accomplish what one wants. In Vega, they have that too, you know. But it's kind of boring in Vega if you have nothing to strive for, you know, because everything, all your needs are attended to. You know, not everybody can live there. People who are born there, they're very fortunate, clearly. There's no disease. There's no death. Everything we fantasize on Earth, that's what they have in Vega, you know. And, you know, on Earth as it is in heaven. I would really like to achieve that. I would like Earth to be in collaboration with Vega. I mean, it's always going to be different on Earth, but I want the Earth to have the same technology that they have. So we don't, I mean, I don't know. I guess we have to die on Earth, right? I don't know. We have to figure that out. I haven't figured out what rules, how we should change the rules on Earth so that we don't have to suffer so much. You know, this is hell right now, and I want to transform hell into heaven on Earth. Even if it's Earth and it's, you know, we're going to have lifetimes and we're going to die. I want us to enjoy our lives while we're here and be able to do something constructive instead of just suffering all the time. I mean, it just seems pointless that we should be suffering all the time, doesn't it? I want us to have world peace. You know, world peace is a given in Vega. I mean, there's no issue in Vega, you know, and that's why they're so interested in us, because we're the ones that are suffering. They don't care about themselves because we're the ones that are suffering. They don't suffer like we do. They suffer from boredom, if anything, you know, and this is what cures their boredom, you know, trying to help us. And the only solution was me coming down here and being born and going through all the hell that I've been through, you know. That was the only solution to the problem. And I hope it did something, because I certainly wouldn't have chosen to do this for no reason at all, you know. I didn't have to, you know. I could have just stayed up there. I mean, I wasn't born up there. I was born down here. But I could have, when I died, one of the many times I've died, I could just, I'll just take it easy up here and screw the earth, you know. But if I had done that, I think we would have ceased to, you know, the Vega would have ceased to exist, right? I mean, we're their past, we're their history. So we have to survive, or they don't survive, right? I mean, they wouldn't be, we're gonna survive, folks, because Vega exists. And they're here to help in whatever way they can. And of course I'm here. And you know who I am. I am Goddess, God Almighty. She's a woman. I'm a woman. I'm not a guy. Never was. I used to be African American, and that was going to be an issue. So I had to be reborn as a girl that looked white, even though I'm still African American, you know. When I was Blythe, who was my incarnation before Jose Tota, all the white supremacists and Trump and all of them, they wouldn't have accepted her. So she knew she had to be reborn like me, you know. And I had to go through hell, like the most hell of anyone, of any inhabitant in the earth, on the earth. I had to go through more hell than anyone else. It was all planned. This was the shortcut, so we could shorten all the suffering we see here on earth. I hope we're gonna succeed. I mean, I know we are. We are definitely succeeding. There's no doubt. I just, you know, I just am trying to elaborate on how important it is that I'm here and the work that I've done. You know, I'm not some fucking, excuse my language, I'm not some fucking loser sitting here on my ass doing nothing. I'm really doing something more profound than anyone realizes, and I hope the day comes really soon. I mean, I'm so tired of waiting. I hope the day is really soon now, that you take the information I give and run with it, and do something with it that will help the entire planet, and so we can get started bringing heaven, you know, on earth as it is in heaven, creating that reality. I really like to get started doing that pretty soon, okay? I'm so tired of this hell game. It's a game. It's stupid. It's a stupid game that we need to end, and we need to begin playing the game that we all want to play. You know, these devils, you know, they love this game, you know, Trump and all his white supremacists and domestic terrorists, you know, they just love this game. Yeah, well, you've had it to play for a very long time, and now it's time for the good kids to play, okay? All the bad kids, we let you go first, okay? Did you have your fun? Okay, now you're gonna go in your place, you know, in the corner here, you know, and you know, you're gonna stay there while we do, you know, we let you go first. Okay, so now it's time for the good kids to have the playground and, you know, create heaven on earth. Okay. All right. I hope I made things clear, and somebody needs to do something. You know, they need to change the regulations so that doctors, you know, so that presidents aren't allowed to do what Trump is doing. All right. Signing off. Oh, and please do give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and comment. Please tell me what you're thinking. Please, I invite all comments. Just please be polite. You know, you can be critical all you want. Just be polite about it. There's a nice way of being critical, and then there's the bully way of being critical. So just be nice about it. That's all. Be respectful of me as a human being. That's all I ask. All right. Have a good one.